That was close. Do not hide good food from guests, because it will turn into worms. The surging population and lack of civil planning caused the settlement many problems. Farmers clear-cut jungle to use the fertile riverbanks for their crops, resulting in a devastating flood in the first heavy rains. Overhunting forced hunters to travel ever further to find game. Several groups, each vying for a controlling interest in the settlement, debated, often fiercely, on the best manner of solving these problems. "29th of November, 1603. After dinner, Lopez left the city. I followed, worried he might not return. I found him standing by the riverbank, lips moving as though in prayer. Not wishing to disturb him, I waited. His communion with God must have lasted through the night, and I regret to admit I fell asleep, for the next thing I knew, Lopez stood smiling serenely over me, the morning sun behind him, creating a halo. He helped me to my feet and clasped me in a strong embrace. 'Truilos, I know where to find the artifact,' he whispered in my ear. "30th of November, 1603. With a local man as a guide, Lopez, the soldiers and I set out from the city before first light, just as well as a terrible flu began to spread through the population. Lopez is convinced this artifact does not lie in the city itself, but somewhere just outside. I asked if it was not somewhat hypocritical to enlist the help of those loathsome people. 'Do not loathe them,' he said, 'any more than you would these molosses. They are all creations of the Lord our God, as are we.' I told him I was stunned to hear him speak in this fashion, but he took my hands and we prayed. The energy of his faith ran from him to me, until I felt the chains of doubt fall from my heart. This Spanish document relates one of the many stories of El Dorado, the Golden One. When the first Spanish exploration ships returned home with their holds full of gold, the news spread like wildfire, and the stories got more extravagant with each retelling. Rumors of the Golden City gave birth to countless expeditions to the New World. The new methods of agriculture introduced by the cult of Kukulkan have only succeeded in destroying more crops. First, the bee colonies collapsed. Then the cocoa crop failed. The earth is too damaged for anything but corn to grow, and the stalks are flimsy. We must take action, or Paititi will suffer a tremendous famine. After the long dry season, when the rains finally fell, the rats left their burrows looking for more food. They brought with them pests. Those afflicted bleed from their ears and nose and died in terrible pain and terrible numbers, leaving many once populous cities empty. Unuratu approached the throne through the crowd. She walked beside it, but did not sit. "Why do we continue to believe this lie?" she asked the crowd. "Kukulkan controls this city, and I will no longer wear a smile and pretend it is any different. I will not be his puppet, trotted out to wave and smile." The guards cut her off quickly and ushered her away. Then they advanced, with weapons drawn to disperse the crowds.
Ishiki, would you like to hear a story? One that my mother used to tell.
I would love to.
You've noticed the pools throughout the city, haven't you? Do you know why they exist?
No, why?
We once had a queen, a very vain woman. She ordered these wells dug so that as she walked through the city, she could always see her reflection. One day, she knelt beside one of her pools, and a fish surfaced. She became very angry. The ripples in the water ruined her reflection. This queen tried to capture the fish, but she slipped and fell in and disappeared.
Disappeared?
Many tunnels between the wells were discovered during the search, but she was never found. Some say the queen is still down there, trying to catch that fish.
Thank you. That was quite the story. Villager claims to have seen a strange creature in the streets. They followed it to a walled-in alley where it disappeared. Citizen described similar experience in Upper City. Woke to discover something trying to climb in a second-story window. When she yelled, it dropped to the street and disappeared. We'll continue to monitor. Each Taka of the cult of Kukulkan vows to tie his coat to that of Yutu, descendant of the Maya. Lacking any family of his own, each Taka will live with the parents of Yutu until such time that they have built their own home and hearth. Yutu vows to tie her coat to that of each Taka. She will bear him many children, which they will raise according to the traditions of both their peoples. We leave the city at first light, which is just as well, for a terrible disease has spread across it. Dead and dying line the paths and choke the streams. Many are saying it is punishment from the gods. Journal of Adelantado Perez. November 1603. I accompanied Andreas Lopez, a group of 12 soldiers and 2 Molossers through the jungle. The directions the Jesuits provided Trinity were excellent, so we discovered the hidden city with little difficulty. The natives of the city welcomed us warily, but we plied them with gifts, and they reluctantly allowed us to enter the city, unaware of our true intentions. Lopez has begun to search for the artifact while we distract the city's leaders. Bats and Hunchoen were twin brothers, older half-siblings of the more celebrated Maya hero twins. Jealous of their brothers, the monkey twins would always cheat during football matches and ruin them with their aggressive tactics. In retaliation, the hero twins lured them up a tree which never stopped growing, preventing Hunbats and Hunchoen from getting down. The hero twins convinced them that they could use their belts to climb down. But this turned out to be another trick, and the belts became tails, turning the elder twins into monkeys. I'll have to find a way to lower that central pavilion. I won't last long if I fall in the water. Which carries Maya's souls through the underworld and into the sky, is directed by 2 gods. Old Stingray Paddler sits in the back of the canoe and handles the duties during the day, while Old Jaguar Paddler sits in the front and takes care of the night shift. These 2 gods symbolize not only light and darkness, day and night, but also the interdependence of all equal and opposite forces. All full up. Can't carry any more. Ill-suited to the local land, the Maya's agriculture techniques of slash and burn soon led to a food shortage. At the risk of starvation, they entered into treaties with local pre-Inca tribes, gaining new technologies and crops. The traders arrived, bringing new goods, and then the farmers, with new crops and techniques. Eventually, as more and more of the outsiders arrived in Paititi, they eventually took administrative control. The Paititians made peace with each other and followed Yaskar Yahweh, recently acclaimed as emperor, to a site in the mountains to begin anew, certain they will not make the same mistakes as those before them. The gate's open. Now I'll just have to get over there. Kukulkan says they won't fear us if we are not capable warriors, and to become capable we must complete the tests their people have made. These Paititians know nothing of war. Their blades and spear tips have dulled. I will complete their rituals, and I will show them the true might of those who follow Kukulkan. Do not leave the city. Those who leave become cursed, forced to wander the jungle, and never find peace. Shit! This could be interesting. I've left and come back, and no demons haunt me. Was I just lucky, or has the cult lied to us? What do they have to gain from keeping us here? The scar Yahweh united the two sides, ending the war. However, their blood still boiled. In order to placate the soldiers, someone must be punished. Yahweh rounded up the merchants believed to be responsible for the conflict and sacrificed them. Amaru returned for his brother's funeral, inconsolable during the burial and immovable after. The next day, however, he cut swiftly through the city. He unmasked the cult's leader, exposing them as outsiders. "It is time for the people of Paititi to take control of their city," he said, holding a decapitated head in one hand and the bloody knife in the other. "No longer will we bow to outsiders.